20% of the population right now meets the criteria for a diagnosis of depression or anxiety. That's a massive number. It's crazy.
It's
40%, 40% of teenagers, Nick, in the past year have considered suicide.
40%?
40. It's nutso, man. It's crazy. How
is that in the US or is that global?
I think that's a US stat.
That's
so
terrifying.
Terrible. It's terrible. So it's no surprise that when you look at my specialty, there's so many people with anxiety and depression that come through the door. That's a piece of what I've done over the years. But I've really been most kind of enamored with the idea of stress, because I think stress is underneath almost every other mental health diagnosis that people struggle with, because it's stress that unlocks the potential neurologically. If someone has a neurological predisposition for depression and anxiety, not everyone actually goes on to develop depression or anxiety. The people that go on to develop it are the people that have had experiences and lived in environments for years that were very stressful, that ultimately it's like a key going into a lock. It just unlocks the potential. So for me, stress, if we can help people get less stressed, we ultimately prevent so much depression, anxiety, relationship problems, addiction. It's all kind of rooted in chronic stress. And as you and I have already talked about today, that's sort of where we're at culturally. Like, we're living in that right now, all of us.
Yeah. I love that, because if I look at, for me, anxiety is probably throughout my adult life been the thing I've struggled with the most. And exactly as you're saying there, that would always be stemming from stress.
Yeah.
If you could remove the stress or the things that you're worrying about, or, it'd be very hard for the anxiety to sort of be there, or to really, to have that impact if the stress wasn't there.
Yeah, 100%. And I think if you live in chronic stress long enough, a lot of people will develop anxiety. I mean, in some ways they're similar, right? But the idea is stress is, I'm worried about something that is going to happen in the future that's very tangible, and it's short term and it's time limited. I'm stressed about my job, or I'm stressed about this test I have in this class, or I'm stressed about, this checkup that my kid has at the doctor. Anxiety is, it's a few steps beyond that. It's, I am now compulsive about trying to anticipate threat. Like, what are all the things that have stressed me out over the years? Let me anticipate what's coming next. Let me try to control the future. And it actually is the opposite of what we talked about earlier with process over outcomes. Anxiety is obsessed with outcomes. It lives in the future. Depression kind of lives in the past. Anxiety kind of lives in the future.
Yeah. That definitely makes sense for me. That's where my mind's always gone, the future. Looking forward instead of, being present and wanting to, seeing the big picture. And it's really why, even with my company, we do a lot of work holistically with people. It's not, a psychology. I'm not a psychologist, so it's more from the health and fitness space. And, we put programs together just to encourage people to take action. And I think exercise is one of the best ways to do that. Just move your fucking body, do anything, don't worry about needing to run that marathon yet. Go and walk for 10 minutes today, do something.
Yeah.
Because it's so common. You hear so many people saying, yeah, but I want to get to this level, and how do I do this? How do I find the perfect diet? And, I want to be training in the gym 3 days a week, running on the other days, doing this, doing that. And you don't stick to any of it. Just do something. Go and, take that first step.
Yeah. I call it inertia. You need like inertia, especially with depression. Like, because depression it'll grab you, and given its way, it will shut down every system in your body, man. It brings everything down. And before you know it, you don't want to leave the house. You don't want to take a shower. I mean, it can get so severe. And the best treatment for depression initially is inertia. It's like, get moving, like just get moving. There's even some data, Nick, on like long-term studies that look at the efficacy of medicine and exercise to treat depression. And de- exercise is as effective or more effective than medicine in treating depression long term.